On TikTok, as with many other platforms that pay creators or allow for monetization, you may be asked to provide a tax identification number TIN. This is a legal requirement to comply with U.S. tax laws, even if you are not a U.S. resident. Here's how this works. What is a tax identification number TIN? A TIN is an identification number used by the Internal Revenue Service (IRS) in the United States to track tax obligations. For U.S. residents, this could be a Social Security number (SSN) or an Employer Identification Number (EIN). For non-U.S. residents, this is typically an Individual Taxpayer Identification Number (ITIN). Why does TikTok require a TIN? TikTok requires a TIN for tax reporting purposes. Since TikTok is paying you, they are required by U.S. law to report this income to the IRS. The TIN helps TikTok to identify the appropriate tax obligations for your earnings, even if you are not a U.S. resident. How to obtain a TIN ITIN if you are not a U.S. resident? If you are not a U.S. resident, you will need to apply for an Individual Taxpayer Identification Number (ITIN). Here's how you can do this. 1. Form W-7. You will need to fill out IRS Form W-7, which is the application form for an ITIN. 2. Supporting documents. You will need to provide documentation that proves your identity and your foreign status. This could include a passport, national identification card, visa, or other official documents. 3. Submission. Submit the Form W-7 and your supporting documents to the IRS. This can be done by mail, through an IRS-approved acceptance agent, or at an IRS Taxpayer Assistance Center (TC) if you are in the U.S. 4. Wait for processing. Once submitted, processing an ITIN application can take several weeks. After approval, you will receive your ITIN by mail. Additional considerations: payment of taxes. Even if you are a non-resident, your earnings from TikTok may be subject to U.S. withholding tax, depending on tax treaties between the U.S. and your country. The ITIN allows you to properly report and potentially reduce your tax obligations. Updates to TikTok. Once you receive your ITIN, you would provide it to TikTok to comply with their monetization requirements. Conclusion: proving a TIN is a necessary step to comply with U.S. tax laws when earning income through TikTok. Non-U.S. residents need to obtain an ITIN by following the steps outlined above. It's important to ensure that you provide the correct information to avoid issues with payments or legal compliance.